Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I'm not here with Geeky Sparkles. She's sitting this one out. She's not feeling too well. She has the same crud I had last week. I think I gave it to her, and I'm still not 100% over it, but I'm going to do what I can do to bring the pop culture news to you. We're going to talk about the state of California. It's not looking too good. Governor Newsom is not doing a very good job, in my opinion, of running the state. In fact, he's run the state into the ground. Things have gotten significantly worse since the pandemic, and lots of businesses are leaving. And we did a video yesterday talking about Hollywood, that he's going to try to introduce some sort of a tax cut or something to keep Hollywood in Hollywood. I never thought we'd reach a point where Hollywood productions were moving out of Hollywood, moving out of LA. But it's not viable for most studios to do all their filming and production in LA, given the cost of things. And we're not just talking the taxes, we're also talking about the people. Everything costs more in California, and you also have to scrape the shit off your shoes. Now, I'm not just attacking California. I want to be very clear. I actually spent half my childhood in California. My mom married my stepdad. We moved to California. It was a great place to grow up in the 80s and 90s. I loved it quite a bit. That being said, it is completely unrecognizable now, and I would never move back. It's very, very sad because I loved it. I loved it. I have a lot of good memories living out there, and I lived in the Bay Area, and we used to drive down the coast and go see my stepdad's family. They lived in Newport Beach, and we would go down there. We go to Disneyland and Knott's Berry Farm every summer, and had a lot of fun. It was relatively safe-ish too. I mean, where we lived in Contra Costa County, and the neighborhood we lived in was pretty safe. And it was, something out of a Spielberg movie. You'd ride your bike around the neighborhood, go play baseball. Things were fine, but not anymore. Not anymore. It's like a freaking free-for-all. I don't even recognize what I've seen of it. And I haven't been back to California since I moved here over 20 some years ago. And no, that's not true. I've been back a couple times for business, but I mean, as far as like going back and staying there and living there and visiting even, I haven't done it. My family, actually, they all moved to the East Coast because it was so crazy. And this was years ago. It was like 10 years ago. They all packed up and moved here. Anyway, let's talk about this. California job openings fall 30% as the unemployment rate is the second worst in the country. Nobody wants to open a business in California. You can't afford to. California has seen job openings plunge 30% this year, even as its unemployment rate has spiked as businesses and residents alike flee the high taxes and soaring cost of living in Governor Gavin Newsom's state. They wanted to run this guy for president. I'm like, I don't think that's a very good idea. You've had some candidates that I think probably could have stood up to Trump. I think Tulsi Gabbard and RFK Jr. definitely could have beaten Trump, but you drove them out of the Democratic Party too. The Democrat-run stronghold where Newsom implemented a controversial $20 minimum wage hike for fast food workers in April had 641,000 job openings in August compared to 920,000 in August of 2023. According to new data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So I remember reading that there were businesses that were open in California for decades. The one Arby's in Hollywood, I think, they closed, and they've been there forever because they couldn't afford to pay fast food workers $20 an hour. Meanwhile, the year-over-year unemployment rate in September increased from 5%, more than a percentage point above the national rate of 4.1%, and the second worst in the U.S. Only Nevada had a higher jobless rate at 5.6%. Now, this is really interesting. Nevada has a higher jobless rate. There probably isn't much going on in Nevada outside of, outside the cities. There's not much there, right? And I think this is part of the reason that they're going to move productions to Nevada, because there's a lot of people that probably want jobs and they're going to work a lot cheaper than they're going to work in California. And a lot of them probably aren't going to be union. I'm just saying, every time they raise the minimum wage, every time they, they're disincentivizing any business to stay in the state of California. And it's not just a political thing. It is a political thing, the fact that, it's the Democrats that seem to keep pushing for, higher taxes and higher wages and whatever. But it's just, you can't do business there. I'm even reconsidering, we're in Pennsylvania, and I'm like, I might even restructure our company in another state. Like, we don't have to be in Pennsylvania. We can be anywhere. And I'm like, Pennsylvania corporate taxes are horrible. They're like damn near, I think it's 9%, 10% now. They're not good. And companies are going to look for any advantage they can get. Why do you think everybody files in Delaware? Why do you think all these companies are moving? And I think it's this governor's term, right? His rulership is going to be remembered, I believe, as the one that basically broke Hollywood because of the way that he's handled things. The state's high taxes, along with rampant crime since the pandemic from progressive policies, has led to an exodus by several large companies to business-friendly havens. Elon Musk's X and Tesla, Oracle, Chevron, Kelly Moore Paints, Charles Schwab left, have relocated to Texas. High taxes and high costs are woes to their economy. Mahoney Asset Management CEO Ken Mahoney told the Post, it's no surprise why people and businesses continue to flee. And a lot of them are just waiting for their leases to run out. Once the lease runs out, they're gonna leave. If you're locked into like a 5 or 10 year lease, it's like, okay, well, we got to sit tight for now. But I think a lot of them are going to leave. California was ranked as the top state for out-migration in 2024 with a net loss of more than 10,000 residents. Remember when they were going to tax people if you left? Because they're so desperate for revenue that if you left California, I remember that. I don't know if it got passed or what, but they were going to tax you. If you moved out of California, you still had to pay taxes, state taxes to California for a couple of years. It's like alimony, right? Like, what the fuck is that? I've never heard of anything like that. That's ridiculous. The median sale price for a single-family home in California surpassed $900,000 for the first time this year, according to the California Association of Realtors. I can believe that 100%. My parents bought their house, and we had about 1.5 acres of land in Northern California. It was farmland, and my mom had a small ranch where she would breed horses and ponies, and eventually she got into alpacas and stuff. I know how to ride a horse. Did you know that? There's some neon knowledge for you. I actually know how to ride a horse. I grew up around horses. I haven't been on a horse in years, though. But yeah, I grew up riding horses. But anyway, so they bought their house in the late 80s, and it was, I want to say $175,000. And when they moved about 10 years ago, it was like $2.5 million is what the property was worth. And people were like, oh my God, it's a multi-million-dollar house. I'm like, no, not really. It's nothing special. It just had some land in California. And it's like you could take the BART to San Francisco. In general, the extremely high cost of living in the state and unaffordable housing in major cities has resulted in many employers struggling to hire entry-level jobs in retail, construction, and home care despite wage growth in fast food. And a lot of people don't want to work. I mean, let's be honest, right? If you're on the dole, you don't want to work. The state has also seen a massive decrease in private sector jobs while government jobs have skyrocketed. This is what happens. This is exactly what happens. Pennsylvania is the same way. Pennsylvania, like all of the jobs here, it's construction, right? Government jobs, healthcare, because we have an aging population. Healthcare is king. Like in Pittsburgh, UPMC owns this town. Like they own everything, right? And the construction jobs are bankrolled by the government. The taxes are high here. And you have a lot of people, I'm going to be honest, you have a lot of people in rural Pennsylvania that are on the dole. And, for being a supposedly a red state, there are a lot of people taking assistance and a lot of people sitting on unemployment for a lot longer than they should be. But it's historically been a blue state, and this is kind of the state of things here. It's not as bad as California, though. It said since September of 2022, California has lost 154,000 jobs in the private sector and gained 361,000 jobs in the public sector. So they doubled the number of government jobs because they jacked the taxes up. Here's a suggestion. Cut the government jobs. Cut the government jobs, cut the taxes, and businesses will move back. They will. Businesses go wherever the advantage is. People don't have an emotional attachment to a state anymore. I mean, God, we're going to do another video today talking about Hasbro. And they've been a Rhode Island staple since the inception of the company, but now they're talking about moving to Boston because they get tax benefits. Nobody has to stay anywhere. God, there's so many ads here. It said our small business owning members have been telling us for many months, I can't even close these ads, have been telling us for many months that finding qualified employees has been a top problem for them, muscled out lately by inflation, says the National Federation of Independent Business California Director John Kobatek. Some of the decline in job openings can be attributed to them just giving up. Tech companies overhired post-pandemic as they ramped up in 2020 and 2021 and are not experiencing the growth to maintain those hires. A lot of them are not growing at all. The $20 minimum wage has been blamed for job cuts and store closures across the state as employers struggle to keep up with rising costs. Yeah, the rents out there are terrible. Between last fall and January, California fast food restaurants slashed 9,500 jobs. 9,500 jobs. In anticipation of the new wage requirements, employers like Pizza Hut and Round Table Pizza began firing more than 1,000 delivery drivers. El Pollo Loco and Jack in the Box said they will ramp up the use of robotics to slim down their staff. The higher minimum wage, up from $16 an hour last year, has led to menu price increases, restaurant closures. Shake Shack and Rubio's went out. And it's not just fast food. They talk about fast food. It's affecting everybody. It's affecting, since we're talking about the entertainment industry, and this is a big factor in it, right? It's more expensive all the way around. It's not just retail jobs. It's not just fast food jobs. It's also the entertainment industry. It's too expensive. It's too expensive to stay in California. And I think a lot of these studios are going to leave. I think they're going to leave. I think they're going to leave California. There could come a day where most of our entertainment doesn't come from California as it has come historically. Remember, California at one point wasn't the entertainment center of the U.S. It was actually New York, right, with plays and vaudeville and all of that. And then eventually, everybody went to California when we had motion pictures. So it feels like we're looking at another fundamental shift, a sea change in the entertainment industry. But to bring it back to animation, because we've talked a lot about animation, the animation industry, and people apparently disagreeing with our assessment that the animation industry is not in a good place right now, despite everybody saying that. Reddit, even, we've got a lot of people, they're like, and I feel bad, they're like, should I even bother getting into animation because everything is up in the air? And I think what is going to happen is that there will be a thriving animation community. It just won't be centralized in Los Angeles or in California. And I think this needs to happen. I think if Moana 2 is a huge hit, Moana 2 is done in Canada, and I think it's going to be a big hit. If it makes bank, then all these other studios are going to be like, you know what? We made this one in Canada. We do not have to make movies in California. We do not have to do animation in California. Just because Walt Disney set up shop here 100 years ago doesn't mean it works current year. And with taxes like this and a governor like this who is very anti-business. I mean, these are just very anti-business policies. Look for more people to leave. Look for more studios to leave. If Disney, I'm going to be honest, it's to the point now where if Disney said, hey, we're just going to leave. We're just going to leave California. We're going to push Disney over there. We're going to go to Texas or Nevada or something like that. We're going to build, Lost Mickeys or something, right? It wouldn't surprise me at all. Even though they've been in Burbank and Glendale forever, it would not surprise me at all because it's going to get to a place where they cannot afford to be there. So how bad does it have to get until they course correct? I have no idea. Can they course correct? I have no idea. I really don't. Do I care? Not particularly. I feel bad for the people that don't have jobs now because of stupid decisions at the top. But, the California I grew up in, it no longer exists. So I've mourned and moved on. So I'm going to wrap this one up, guys. Please subscribe. We'll talk later. Join the reef. Go to clownfishminus.com. That's clownfishminus.com. You will get exclusive access to podcasts and videos and comic strips and more, as well as merch discounts. Check it out. If you were a member, you could get this t-shirt, this dismal t-shirt on our website. You'd get a 10% discount on that. You can also join in the community on clownfishminus.com. Thank you so much for the support.